we did want somebody from Anissia's family here today with us to speak about the entire case. And today there's a memorial service in Chandigarh, which is why they couldn't join us in the studio. But we did speak to Anissia's brother, Karan. So let's just take a look at what he had to tell us about the case. Now, Karan, the case so far, the police are investigating it as a suicide. But your family doesn't believe that it was a suicide. Tell us about that.
Yes, so the most important thing which I would like to mention here is that the only person who said that this is a suicide is the person who is the main accused, which is Mayank Singhvi, which is the husband of my sister. So my request would be that, to everybody, that if it's not clear, because even the doctor's reports are not clear and even the police is not clear, so we should call it an unnatural or a death under mysterious circumstances. And if you feel that the evidence in front of you is enough to say that she was murdered, then please go ahead and say that. So that is what I would like to start with. What has happened in this case so far is that on 13th July, which is Friday, is when we were given the information that my sister has jumped off the 4th floor, and that was also told to us by Mayank, which is her husband. And since then, we have only been trying to run to get answers in terms of what has been happening, what are the details, and there is a huge history in terms of domestic violence, harassment, and a lot of demands which have been there by Mayank and his family. And that is the background to this specific case, and since then we've been fighting.
All right, just help us understand this. Why was Anissia, who seems to be somebody who is very strong from whatever we've heard from her friends and accounts that they've written about her, why was she in this marriage which had dowry demands as well as domestic abuse? She came from a very supportive family, clearly an army background, your father being a major general. So why was she in this marriage?
It's very difficult to explain exactly what we are going through and what happened. But one thing which is very clear to all of us is that somebody who was so independent, who was somebody who always was fighting for others, would never ever commit suicide. And the problem is that there are no facts which say that she committed suicide apart from the accused story saying that she jumped off. So today I would only want to urge everybody, telling them that this is not a suicide case, this is a case of murder, and we have to get to the bottom of it.
All right, now your father had even filed a complaint with the police and it was on the 27th of June that he feared for Anissia's safety. So if you all felt that she was in an unsafe situation, why was she still with her husband?
We were in the process of getting her out. There were multiple meetings which had happened, and unfortunately just weeks before we were actually in the process of getting her away from there, an incident like this happened. Coming to your letter of 27 June, which my father gave to the police station, so things, as I mentioned, had become really bad, and he had started assaulting her. He even raised his hand on my mother. So, when things like this are in question, things had become very, very difficult, and my parents moved to Delhi from Chandigarh because they live in Chandigarh. I had also moved from Bangalore to Delhi because the matter had become really bad. Now, we were in the process of getting this thing done, but unfortunately, my mother is undergoing a particular treatment for which she had to come back to Chandigarh. Now, during that time, we were so worried for her safety and we wanted her to come along with us. But because she was somebody who had a job, she used to work with an airlines called Lufthansa, and she had to go on her flights, she could not come with us. So at that time, my father, along with my sister, went to the Hostess police station on 27th and gave a detailed report, which clearly mentioned that she was being harassed, she was being abused by her husband and her in-laws, and there were a lot of demands being made. And now we were fearing for her safety because they actually went ahead and told us that we are very influential people, we will do what we want and you'll be able to do nothing. Unfortunately, the only help that we wanted to seek was with the police, who did nothing. So my father's letter clearly mentioned that we are worried for the safety of my daughter. They will make it look like an accident or a suicide and then put it out there. But we are clearly telling you that it is these three people who are responsible: the husband, Mayank Singhvi, the in-laws, Sushma Singhvi, the mother, and Rajinder Singhvi. And even after that, no action was taken by the police.
All right, but Anissia was still living with Mayank.
Yes, they were living in the same house, which is N116, and the in-laws stayed just a couple of blocks away. So it's not that the in-laws did not know or were not aware of what was happening. They were very much party to it, and they were the ones who used to instigate, and they were the ones who used to actually make a lot of demands.
All right, but again, why was she still living with him if you and your father had such fears? You know, he detailed that in the police complaint, how he feared for her security, her safety. Just help us understand this.
Absolutely. So you're absolutely right. She was staying with him only for a certain period. In April, when matters became worse, we actually moved to Delhi. That was the time when we requested, and unfortunately we need to request because it was his house, for Mayank to either move out, because there was no way that my sister was safe. So for almost a period of a month, month and a half, Mayank and my sister were not staying together. It's only when we left on the 27th did he move back on the 29th of June, because he said that, you know, his family also came and requested us. And even after we were not comfortable, unfortunately, he moved back.